So I'd like to welcome you to this webinar on the 4 ways to grow your business, where I'll be sharing with you hopefully some ideas on how you can really add to the profitability, the cash flow, and ultimately the value of your business. I think it's fair to say that most of us tend to center on product quality, and I guess it's a logical argument that great products will result in happy customers, and the best way to move the product is to send the right advertising messages to the marketplace. That part is what we call marketing and sales, and if we do enough of that, the logic goes then we'll end up with positive financial results. Now, is it really as simple as that? You see, many firms, even large ones, have tried the very same strategy and they've failed. Apple computers followed this model and they're a distant second to PC. And who would have thought that a computer company would make better phones than a phone company? On the day that Ford went bankrupt, they were manufacturing some of the best vehicles they'd ever produced. And even in my situation, when I was previously in practice as a chartered accountant and had many great clients producing awesome products, I noticed that they weren't seeming to be making as much headway as I really thought they should. So how do we build a better business? Is there a better way? Well, we know there is. And believe it or not, it means we need to focus on just 4 things. Now, to start off with, when I'm talking about growing a business, I'm meaning to create an outstanding business that produces great profits and cash flow, a business that frees you up to do the things that you want to do. It's all about making your business more valuable. You see, I know that there are a lot of so-called experts out there who are only too happy to show business owners how to grow their sales. And there aren't too many business owners that believe the answer to all of their problems is to grow their sales as well. But there's nothing as thirsty for cash as a growing business. And sometimes the more successful that strategy is, the more likelihood that things are going to get a whole lot worse before they get better. So before I share some secrets with you, please allow me first to show you just what I mean. And here's an example of a very summarized financial or business position. And you can see here we've got a certain revenue, a certain gross profit margin, some expenses, and in this case we've got a profit at the bottom line there. So what would happen if this particular firm sought to increase their sales revenue in order to improve their cash flow and business value? I'll just use the slider here just to get an increase in sales. You can see that the sales have gone up, but you may want to have a look at what's happening to the cash flow. The cash flow is going deeper and deeper into the red. In fact, the more we increase the revenue, the worse the cash flow actually becomes. And this is often an issue that I see where businesses look to sort out a cash flow issue by simply increasing their revenue, whereas sometimes the answer is not outside the business but how the business is actually being run. And there could be some other strategies where we could advise what's going on in your financial statements by looking at some other areas. You can see just a bit of a change in a couple of balance sheet items has really significantly improved the cash flow, and we haven't actually had to increase the sales at all in order to achieve that. So just bear in mind that there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So what we're going to cover in this presentation is the reason why I want to help you to focus on these 4 important things that I'm going to be sharing with you. And it's also why I think it's a great idea to have your business checked first to make sure that you're not going to run into some sort of grief. A doctor would hardly prescribe medicine without making sure that they're very comfortable with your symptoms, and that the prescription is the right one for your particular situation. And it comes to exactly the same situation when we're talking about advising businesses. So we need to make sure that the growth right now is the best way to solve your particular problems. And as part of attending this webinar, of course, I'll be happy to run that exercise for you with my compliments at any time. Now, these 4 things, I'm going to go through each of these 4 ways to explore just how you can use each idea to increase the value of your business. We'll cover a fair bit of ground, so be warned that I won't be going into too much detail on specific techniques to make each way work for you. However, I have some other presentations that we've already done and some upcoming presentations, and I'll mention them as we go along. Now, it might sound a little simplistic, but there really are only 4 ways to successfully grow your business. In other words, to make it more valuable. One of those is to increase the number of customers of the type that you want. Secondly, is to increase the number of times those customers come back to buy from you. Thirdly, increase the average value of each sale you make. And finally, to increase the effectiveness of each process in your business. Now, it's interesting to consider that all of the business development strategies that you might choose will fall into one of these 4 categories. Any other strategy that doesn't appear to sit in one of these 4 ways, for example, cutting costs, may help you temporarily, but it won't grow your business. Cutting costs won't make your business more valuable unless you turn around and reinvest the money you save into one of these 4 ways. Now, there aren't many businesses that have ever shrunk themselves to greatness. And so why do I think these 4 ways are so powerful? I'll just show you a very quick illustration of just what I'm meaning using another one of our business development tools. Now again, we've got a business here with a certain number of customers. We're thinking that they turn over that customer base once every 5 years, so that's 20% a year, replace them with some new ones. Each customer visits the store about 8 times a year, and at the end of it, this business has got a profit of about $20,000. Now, using these 4 strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you over this time together, let's just say that we could employ some strategies that we're going to allow us to retain our existing customers. We've worked really hard to get them in the first place. So instead of losing 20% a year, let's just say we're going to reduce that to just 18% a year, just a couple of percent difference. And we're going to use another one of the strategies I'll be sharing with you today to improve your acquisition rate, the rate that you can get new customers. We'll show you some ways to encourage those customers to come back more often, ever so slightly, an increase of 8 times a year up to 9 times a year. We'll show you how to sell at a better price, and we'll even show you some ways of improving your margin. So these relatively short movements, and to show you that in another way, we'll just show our graphs here. You can see that there's relatively small adjustments in each one of those strategies, but have a look at what's happening to the profit. A significant increase in that net profit, which is really what it's all about. In this case, moving that profit from $20,000 to nearly $80,000 by making these small changes. And that's just why I really believe that this is such a powerful way to be able to develop your business. Of course, that was with regard to the profitability, and we need to look at cash flows, and that's why the analysis really does need to be in just a little bit more detail to ensure it's right for you. Now, winning new customers, or customer acquisition as we call it, is where most business owners focus first, so I think it's right that we actually start here. Customer acquisition is known as the front end of marketing. It's about achieving that initial first-time contact with a potential customer. While there are hundreds of ways to win new customers, we'll be looking at the 5 major strategies for this. That is, developing unique core differentiators for your products and your services. We'll look at tapping the power of the phone, implementing a sales system, using market research, and developing a promotions plan. First things first, let's look at developing your unique core differentiator. Now, first of all, some of you may refer to this type of strategy as a USP, a unique selling proposition. Now, I'm not a fan of that, and I'll share with you why that is. To me, an emphasis on selling is just not the right way to go. It puts pressure on you and the customer as well. Naturally, a sale would be a desired outcome in most situations, but if you go into the meeting with the sale top of mind, then I don't think your focus is right. To me, your focus should be on helping your customer. Whether they end up buying from you or not is really secondary. You may not always have what's right, and by selling them something that's not going to solve their problem might result in a one-time customer and some bad words being spread about you in the marketplace. So instead of focusing on selling, I prefer to focus on communication, ensuring your prospects understand what's different about you so that your leads will be better qualified. Not so many tire kickers, if you know what I mean. So a unique core differentiator is the reason why the right type of customer will buy from you. Something you have that's of real value to them and decides their buying decision in your favor. You may in fact have several UCDs, different ones targeted towards different segments of your customer base. There's an actual UCD, something indisputably different. Apple computers don't get viruses. There's a perceived one, a blind taste test, like Pepsi tends to be the preferred taste over Coke by a margin of around 5-1. And yet when you take the masks off and people see the labels, something very different happens to the selection of each customer. You can create one, a self-storage firm that supplies a vehicle to help the customer get their stuff there. I don't have a trailer, therefore my car doesn't even have a tow bar, so how can I use your storage facility? Simple, you can borrow our vehicle. Good UCDs can come out of simply reviewing the way you do business and deciding to emphasize some aspect of what you already do or of thinking up a different way of doing it. For instance, if you ran a car parts business, you could offer as a UCD perhaps a free same-day delivery of parts ordered from repair shops within your area. Only you service customers who need fast delivery. Or you may choose to keep a range of parts for classic cars. Only you meet the needs of car enthusiasts like that. Or you may offer a top discount to trade customers who spend over a certain sum each month. Only you offer that good a deal to cost-conscious customers. And bear in mind, I'm not a fan of discounting, and you can see here there were certain parameters it was providing. They spent a certain amount and maintain that expenditure. Any one or maybe all of these could be effective because each is based on a consideration of what's important to at least one segment of customers or a particular customer need. Think about how you'd finish this sentence and listen to this. People buy from me because I'm the only business that. Now, if you can put in something there that only you're doing, then that's a UCD. If you can't, then it's time to start thinking about creating some UCDs for your business. And that topic is so important that we've run a webinar on that. So if you'd like a refresh or you'd like to check out that webinar, please just contact me for some details. It really is just that important. And speaking about important, many marketing people consider the phone to be one of the most underutilized resources in business today. Too many business owners spend time and money looking for new ways to promote themselves when they could improve sales simply by improving their phone technique. An effective phone technique is really important in keeping prospects interested. There's no percentage in spending money on generating leads only to turn them off the first time they call you because of the manner in which you talk on the phone, or by handling the call carelessly and leaving people hanging for long waits, and we all know how irritating that can be. Or setting up one of those telephone tag situations. We all know how frustrating those things are too. Among the things your team can learn in customer service skills, training, there may be none so important as phone skills training, whether it's doing sales calls, handling information inquiries, fielding complaints. A great deal of your interaction with your customers will happen over the phone. With the right training, your team will have to have the focus to be able to handle any call and make it work to your business's best advantage. To see how well your team's performing, I suggest you start monitoring the number of calls and how many of those calls actually result in a sale. If you're spending dollars on advertisements to get people to call, then it's a vital statistic, a key performance indicator that you really need to be monitoring and managing. There are some really basic rules for getting the most out of your phone contacts with customers, even if the call began as a customer complaint. Sales reps can learn how to focus on how to upsell and cross-sell as well. Ideas I'll come back to later on. The best way to do it is to develop a systematic way of dealing with phone calls. There are training packages around on how to do that, and we're also going to prepare a webinar on that topic in the future, so you might want to watch out for that. Just about everyone knows of someone they'd call a natural-born salesperson, and doesn't every business owner wish they had one, at least one, on the team? If you observe those people from time to time, you'll begin to notice a pattern to the way they do things, how they get the prospect interested, how they keep them interested, how they handle objections, how they deal with questions about price, and how they finally ask for the sale. All in a way that builds trust and understanding with the prospect as they go along. In fact, if you watch them often enough, you'd probably begin to recognize that they've systemized their routine. They have a sales system. Now, it's actually possible to learn an effective sales system. We encourage our clients to adopt a relationship selling approach. This is one of the most effective selling methods, which also has the added advantage of removing a lot of the discomfort many people feel about selling something. A systemized approach to selling based on an effective sales method and shared by you and your team is a must-have for increasing your customer base. So make sure you can identify the most successful ones around and just start having a look at just what might make them so successful so that you can replicate that throughout your organization. To improve your return on investment in marketing communication pieces such as letters, advertising, emails, online marketing, even direct mail, a targeted rather than shotgun approach is really important. Your marketing should focus on a specific group of people who are the right type to purchase your product or service, and give them a message they'll relate to. After all, it doesn't matter how good your product or service is if people don't think they have a need for it. So it's extraordinarily important to understand what makes your customers tick. If you are selling computers, then you need to realize that the expert user with knowledge of software and hardware and all those technicalities is going to want different information than a person who just wants something easy to use for their emails. The point is to be able to arrive at that knowledge of your actual and potential customers. You need to do some homework identifying your main market segments and profiling them according to their interests. It's what we call market research. Then you can market accordingly in a much more focused and cost-effective way. Knowing and understanding their needs is essential to growing your customer base, whether it sells directly to individuals or to other businesses. Once you have that information, you can use it to persuade potential and existing customers that buying from you is in their best interest. Again, this is another topic that's just so important. We'll be putting it together in a webinar to make sure that we do cover it in enough detail. Now, without a set plan based on some specific goals and without a record of how past efforts have worked out, your advertising efforts must be at best hit and miss. To get more customers, you need a plan for using the right media at the right time. There's no point in trying to win customers on a scattergun approach that will just use up your advertising budget without necessarily adding one extra customer, and you won't even know about it. Think about your current spend on advertising and promotions for your product or service and ask yourself these questions. Do you have an annual budget specifically for those activities? Do you know how successful your advertising really is? That is, how much return on investment you get for that advertising spend? Do you know which is the most effective form of advertising for you? Could it be trade exhibitions, newspapers, internet perhaps? Do you have a schedule, an annual diary of advertising things to do? These are the sorts of things incorporated into what we call a promotions plan. It's an outline of the promotional tools or tactics that you plan to use to accomplish your specific marketing objectives. Acquiring new customers is known as front-end marketing. Customer retention, or getting your current customers to come back to you, is known as back-end marketing. Increasing the number of times your customers buy from you is vital to the long-term health and profitability of your business. Think about this. It can cost up to 5 times more to win a new customer than it does to have an existing customer purchase again. Now, why is that? Because you invest time and money to acquire that customer for the first sale. But every additional sale after that doesn't really involve much cost at all. So for every sale you make to a previous customer, you actually keep more as profit. That's got to be a good thing. So here are some strategies that we're going to talk about. Number one, classifying your customers. Then we'll work out ways to ask them to return. We'll look at providing awesome service, nurturing your customers, and seeking their comments on how well you're performing. This is probably one of the essential things to do for an existing business. It's one of the first ways to ensure that the right customers keep coming back, and you need to classify your customer base into tiers, such as A, B, C, and D type customers. A customers would be your best and most desired, the ones you want to work with. They're loyal, dependable, or just plain nice. Bs have the potential to become As with a little work. Cs are not ideal, but heck, you've paid to get them, so we may as well make some money out of them. And D customers are ones you'd just rather not deal with again. This classification process means that your ongoing communication and marketing approach will be more appropriate for each group. For example, your A customers are the ones you most want to keep working with, so you might invite just them to join a preferred customer club, or A's and B's will get special mailings and offers. You could even go so far as to ask your D customers to go elsewhere, freeing up more time and energy for your preferred customers. But you really do need to go with this process. The person who always said the customer is always right is just plain wrong, and to start thinking that every customer is important as someone else can actually cause you to achieve the wrong sort of results for your business, believe me. So make sure you start putting some work into that customer classification. How about asking them back? Could it be that simple? Most businesses fail to recognize the profit potential in inviting past customers back. It really is as easy as that, you know, assuming that they are happy with you the first time, of course. Once a customer is delighted with the product or service, they want to continue the relationship. Making them feel important and valued gives them the incentive to do that. Remember that 68% of customers who leave you for your competitor do so because of perceived indifference. In other words, they didn't feel that you valued them or were concerned whether they bought from you or not. Or to put it another way, don't think you cared any more than your competitors do. Not following up to say thank you and please come back, not making them special offers or sending them special mailings, not asking for input, can all be perceived as indifference to them as individuals and as customers too. This is a huge topic, and we have previously run a webinar on it. Again, if you'd like to check that out, make sure you contact us and we'd be delighted to send you the information. It will provide you with a bucket full of ideas and even an action plan to get started. We had an awesome response to that one too, so I think you'll really get a lot out of it. It'll take your customer service to a whole new level. And speaking about customer service, it really is a great way to keep customers coming back to you more often. Service that goes above and beyond the norm. Creating a team commitment to service can impress your customer enough to keep them returning and referring others. The commitment could make certain promises of performance standards and could explain your business ethics and mission. These can make great UCDs, unique core differentiators, as well. Awesome service like good telephone technique and selling technique can actually be systemized so all the team knows what they're expected to do for a customer and just how far their authority extends in bending the rules. You can't stop at saying you want your customers to be given awesome service. You need to train your team so they can deliver it consistently and effectively. And it can be a lot more effective than asking, can I help, or are you happy to browse, and quoting discounted prices for things as well. It's important to nurture your relationship with your customer in the same way you would nurture any other important relationship. It's the most cost-effective way to make customers feel valued and motivated to keep purchasing from you. The more you stay in touch with them, the more likely they are to remember you. Oh, Here are some ideas on how to nurture your existing customers. Remember to send them regular mailings, including information on how to better use your products. They help to build on the relationship. Examples could be offers and calendars, service reminders, thank you notes, special articles of interest, those sorts of things. Think of real value like better ways, remember to use your products, or tips and tricks, or using ways that other people don't tend to think of. Even out-of-the-box suggestions in order to get more from them. Establish a loyalty program that rewards frequent purchases, but please, not another loyalty card. My wallet is chocker full of those. Make follow-up phone calls to make sure they're 100% delighted with the product or service they received. So set up a system for ensuring that the relationship with your customers stays alive and encourages them to repeat purchase. It is critical. It's certainly one of those 4 ways to grow your business. Asking for feedback lets your customers know that you're truly interested in them and their opinion, something other businesses just may not bother with. And the feedback you get can be really valuable for your strategic planning. One way to do that is with follow-up calls, just to make sure they're happy with their purchase, or to get in with some damage control if they're not. Please make sure you've got scripts to handle the most common, frequently asked questions. Another way is to use a satisfaction survey, although it's sometimes difficult to get them returned, particularly if the customer is happy, funnily enough. They do work best if they're well thought through. Most just seem to be designed for the ego of the business owner, thinking they've got satisfied clients. They're based on the technical aspects of the business rather than the all-important emotional parts of the business. So it's very nice, but does nothing to help you to develop your business. Make sure you've got an area set aside so you can ask what you could do to improve your service or product. Even if they idolize you, it means they can still provide feedback that you can actually use to improve. You can also ask customers who submit positive comments to be a reference or provide a testimonial for you. Something we use a lot for our clients is marketing by way of sending online questionnaires. We get a lot of information that your customers will share with us that they probably won't share with you directly because of your relationship, and that really adds to the value of how to further develop the way you do business in order to improve your results. When you do make the effort to gather feedback and the customer has made the effort to give it to you, don't waste it. Use the information to continually improve the way you do business and let customers know that their suggestions are being used as well. Customers come to you for help and guidance, so it's important to let them know about all the options, including additional products or services that are available to add on to the original purchase. You've put a lot of time and money and energy into getting that customer into your business in the first place, so why not leverage the return on that investment where you can? Even use checklists to help your customer ensure they've got everything they need to make the most out of your product. Your average transaction value is a simple calculation. I showed it using that business development tool earlier. But all you need to do is take the total value of your sales for a given period and divide it by the number of customers who purchase those things. Use it as an important key performance indicator or business metric. Significant improvements to profitability is as easy as monitoring and managing that average transaction value. Let's talk about some selling strategies you can use to increase your average transaction value. And there they are on the slide. And by the way, when you have your team trained in a selling system, as I suggested earlier, make sure it includes a routine for the use of these strategies, since they can really add to the value of sales. Talking about cross-selling, upselling, bundling a number of products in order to help the client really improve what they're going to get to solve their problem. Smarter ways of merchandising, looking at your margins and pricing. In fact, let's look at each of these now. Cross-selling is when you sell other products or services from your range in addition to the customer's original choice. Another term used to describe it is suggestive selling. You suggest additional items to complement the original purchase. For example, up to, I guess it was 5 years ago now, McDonald's made it a point to cross-sell every time you visit. They used to ask, would you like fries or even an apple pie to go with that Big Mac? It was so much a part of their culture and training that if a team member failed to cross-sell 3 times within a shift, they were invited to take part in more training. They no longer do that, but that's because of political reasons, not because the strategy failed. In fact, the problem was that it was just too successful. 30% of people said yes, and that contributed a lot to the bottom line. And fries are the most profitable item on the menu, by the way. To start you thinking about possible cross-selling opportunities within your business, go back and look at your major product or service offerings and ask, what else could we offer to go with that item that would add value and help the customer get the most out of the purchase? You can then develop cross-selling checklists for each item that will guide team members in making suggestions to your customers. Or how about upselling, another strategy to increase your average sale? A great way to do that is to offer your products or services in 3 or more tiers, along the lines of good, better and best, or bronze, silver and gold. Your first tier might be your budget items, the ones for price-conscious buyers. Your second tier is the one you actually want the majority of your customers to buy, and your third tier items will appeal to those who are happy to spend a little more for more value. Train your team members to offer 3 options from your range of items, explaining the tiers. Statistics show that most people will select the second tiered item. People feel more comfortable in the middle. Drive along any 3-lane highway and you'll see what I mean. Look at where people sit when they enter a seminar room and you'll see what I mean there too. The normal flow is middle, back, in front of the room. Use that knowledge to grow your business. And if you only have 2 options, expect them to select the cheapest. The moral of the story, make sure there are 3 choices for the products that you sell most of. In bundling items or services together into one single purchase, you add value to your customer. It's designed to make your products and services more attractive, create a higher perceived value for the customer, and increase your average transaction value. For example, an electronics retailer might offer a bunch of DVDs with any purchase of a DVD player. Instead of discounting the price by 20%, you might be offering free installation. A health professional might bundle together a free assessment if you sign up for a certain minimum number of sessions. Take a look at your full range of products and services and see if there's any opportunity to package things in that way within your business. Signage, ticketing, presentation and packaging, traffic flow, point of sale displays are all types of merchandising that can increase your average sale when used correctly. having educational information about your products or services, and sales tools like testimonials or brochures can help build customers' confidence in your business and increase the average sale value. Surprisingly, even your on-hold messages can spark a customer's interest and result in an increase of the average sale. For example, if you call a business about a specific product or service and you're put on hold for just a moment, a recording comes on that tells you about other products or services that you may not otherwise have known about, causing you to ask for more information or come in and see for yourself. Understand where your business is located if you rely on foot traffic. If you happen to be next to a bank or a doctor, for example, understand that people tend to accelerate slightly past those sorts of places, so they won't catch what you have at that end of your window display. Angle it so it attracts the attention of people coming from the other direction. Understand, too, that the client will perceive a lot about your store from what they find within 2 meters of your doorway. If you have low quality items there, that's how they'll perceive the rest of your business. Make sure your brand is positioned correctly. To increase your average sales, you must have a firm understanding of your margins and how they impact on your bottom line. Avoid discounting and price wars is really important to maintain and increase your average sale value. So make sure you're exploring the right strategies for your particular situation. Now, this is the last but definitely not the least way to grow your business. It's the first step that ties it all together. To accomplish the previous 3 ways I've talked about, you must make sure that certain processes operate efficiently within your organization. Without changing and improving the way your business operates, it will be very difficult to successfully implement the strategies that we've talked about. So let's discuss briefly some of the basics of improving your business's internal processes. Some strategies such as developing a mission and goals, understanding your SWOT, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, working on, not in. We'll look at systemizing processes and building a team. Bear in mind that we've produced webinars for several of these. They are just that important. So remember to refresh your memories by having another look at those, or again, if you haven't seen them yet, contact us and we'll send you the access credentials so that you can explore these topics in more detail. But let's have a look at them just briefly here. Understanding the real nature of your business and establishing its overall mission can help you build better processes. Once you have a mission statement, everything you do and say must support that mission. It can help guide you in developing a business plan and in goal setting as well. It will also build understanding and trust in your customers' minds and give your team members clearer direction. SWOT, that means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. A SWOT analysis, therefore, is an assessment of your current business environment. When you do that, you end up with information on your industry, on your customers, on your competition, and on all your business operations. And when you know those things, then of course you're in a much better position to improve your problem areas and ensure that you use your strengths and opportunities to full advantage to win more customers, keep them coming back, and spending more with you each and every time. Completing a SWOT analysis can help you to improve your processes to make sure the first 3 ways to grow your business are head and shoulders above your competitors. It's one of the basic techniques businesses who want to grow use to understand how they can leverage their strengths, remove the weaknesses, make the most of the opportunities, and avoid threats in moving their business forward. And a SWOT also forms an important part of any business plan. And I believe any business that's interested in growing absolutely needs a business plan to work to. The process we use, by the way, offers you the choice of an online version where you can answer some interesting questions. We can process the information and come back to you with the areas that you should focus on, along with our recommended action plan, or one where we come into your business and facilitate the process for you. And at the moment, there are some really good offers with regard to that. You might want to find out about them. Do you feel that you're stuck in, day out, handling the myriad of little things that pop up in addition to taking care of regular operations? Well, if you keep doing that, you certainly won't have the time to implement any of the ideas that we've talked about in this webinar. By working on your business instead of in it, you'll be able to step back from the day-to-day activities and look objectively at your business as a whole and what needs to be done to help it grow. One of the most profitable things you can do as a business person is to sort out the things you could do in your business to free up more of your time to work on it rather than in it. For some great ideas on how to achieve that, make sure you look up the webinar on that topic that we provided some time back. One of the first things that you can do to free up more of your time and make your business run more smoothly is to systemize every process that needs to be completed to serve customers and generate profit. We're talking about mapping out and documenting every single step of every single task, from answering the phone to closing up at night. Edward W. Deming, and now he's the American that was sent to Japan after the Second World War and redesigned the Japanese car industry. He became a thought leader and subsequently completed a study that showed that only 4% of business mistakes were due to direct human error. The other 96% were due to lack of consistent systemization. Systems clearly spell out what it takes to run your business. Documenting those systems can help to train team members, delegate responsibility, and create consistency. This all works to your advantage because you now have more free time to do the things that you want to do, and it makes your business more valuable because it doesn't have to depend entirely on you to operate it. Understand why the word team is so critical could improve your business processes and your working environment dramatically. Creating processes within your business can allow you to delegate more to team members, making them feel valued and giving you more free time to work on your business rather than in it. Building a business based on functions rather than people can help you too. Instead of building jobs around specific people, focus on the functions first and match them with the right people. Training is an important area for improving processes and keeping good team members. Building team members' skills is the only way to implement change in your business effectively. Whether it's how to answer the phone, learning the right computer skills, customer service, or financial record keeping, it's extremely important to the ongoing development of your business to ensure that your team members are trained and challenged. For more on that topic, we can also send you a link to a webinar that I presented, which is full of practical ideas. I've also got another one coming up on leadership for the small business owner, so watch out for that as well. Now, the power of synergy. These 4 ways work best when used together in an overall strategy. Think about the concept of synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The mistake many businesses make is to focus on just one of those four ways, and therefore they miss out on significant growth opportunities. Remember the example I showed at the beginning, which showed how you can achieve awesome results by combining the financial impact of those four ways? Don't ever forget that. Don't just focus on always trying to get new customers. If you do that, you'll really miss a great opportunity to excel. So now we've looked at the four ways to grow your business. That's to win new customers of the type that you want, and that's critical there. Getting those customers to purchase more often, increasing the average sale, and improving the processes within your business to ensure the success of those first three ways. We've discussed some of the key strategies within each of those four ways that you can use to make your business more valuable. And we've looked at how the four ways work together. There's been an enormous amount of material covered in this session, which was intended to give you a basic overview of business development concepts. Many of these strategies have been developed into their own webinar, and we hope that you'll continue to look at them and attend our ones in the future too, by the way. Now, look out for the action plan that we're going to send you for investing the time to join us with this webinar, and you'll be receiving that. Please complete it. We find that when people actually complete these action plans, there is more chance of them implementing the strategies. You won't achieve much unless you actually implement some of the things we've talked about. So that's on its way to you soon. I'm just going down the list of questions. There's a long one there that I will be getting back to in more detail one-on-one, but I think I've covered the points and questions that have come. So I really would like to thank you for attending, and remember, we're here to help you succeed. If there is anything that you think you'd like to have a chat to us about, then please contact me. I'd be delighted to assist.